Hey again, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Wheel of Albums. Along with my brother Adam and our friend Jack, I am Justin. What we do here on Wheel of Albums is we spin a wheel, the 1001 albums you must hear before you die. Then we listen to that album for a week. We get back to you and let you know if we think it's an album you must listen to before you die. From Robert Dimery's book, 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die, I got the wheel this week, and I spun the sophomore effort from Dexys Midnight Runners, Too-Rye-Ay. Professor Adam, real quick, what does Too-Rye-Ay mean?
Too-Rye-Ay means nonsensical mouth music.
Oh, so like Scatman.
So the initial reaction to an album title that translates into nonsensical mouth music is, I'm pretty excited. Dexys seems to get a lot of love on social media, so I'm looking forward to spinning this one. So let's go.
My initial reaction was, it's the album with Come On Eileen. And even though I had their debut album, Whoa, Gino, which is a really good, really good Blue-Eyed Soul piece of work, I don't know what else to expect on here. I see Jackie Wilson Said. I know that's a Van Morrison. I vaguely remember them covering that. But what it comes down to in America was this was the album with Come On Eileen. So let's give it a shot and see. Jack, what's your mood going into Too-Rye-Ay, buddy?
My reaction was I knew that Come On Eileen was on there, and I knew a second song, but I forgot what it was, and I never bought the album. And let's find out if I'm gonna live with that regret that I've been depriving myself for 40-some years of not listening to the whole album until now.
Dexys, which is a slang term for an amphetamine-based diet pill, Dexedrine, which was popular on the northern soul scene.
Interesting fact, Professor. Let's start with Eileen.
Think of Dexys Midnight Runners in the United States, you think of Come On Eileen, and you think of them as a one-hit wonder. Personally, with Come On Eileen, I love it. It still holds up really well. It's just one of those classic hits. It's kind of like In a Big Country, right? For me personally, the only real memory I can think of is maybe seeing the video. I was like 5 years old, so to say I remember much more. I'm sure Jack, Justin, you probably have way more memories. So what do you guys remember about Come On Eileen?
I thought whenever I was younger, I saw Dexys Midnight Runners on Solid Gold, the TV show, but according to research, they never appeared on that show. So maybe it was just the Solid Gold dancers dressed up in their in overalls and their neckerchiefs. That's just revisionist history in my mind. Another thing I remember is going to National Record Mart, and one of the first 45s I ever purchased was Come On Eileen. I remember asking our dad, Adam, John Howe, the classic rock aficionado, I was like, should I get this whole album? And he pointed me towards the 45. He said, let's just go that route. Let's not go the whole Too-Rye-Ay. I don't know how much that would have changed my life, and I would have been 9 at the time. Perhaps John didn't want me to walk around in overalls around Weirton, West Virginia. Perhaps the Steel Mill folk would have batted a lash or two at me.
Young boy, 12, 13 years old, there were plenty of jokes about Come On Eileen. It had a hook. It was fantastic. Kevin Rowland's voice is a fabulous instrument. It reminds me of Burl Ives in the sense that when he sings like he's having a good time, I actually believe that he's having a good time.
It kind of is amazing that they didn't have success past Come On Eileen in America. Personally, I think Jackie Wilson Said is the best song in the entire album. It's the one I looked forward to hearing the most, probably because I've heard Come On Eileen so many times, but Jackie Wilson Said is fantastic, and it blows Van Morrison's version out of the water.
There's the song I remember. It was Jackie Wilson by Van Morrison, and this was... The Dexys version is the first time I ever heard that song. They made me like the Jackie Wilson song.
I thought it was good. Not as enthusiastic as you two, but the more that I hear you guys talk about your excitement for this one, the more I'm ready to get on board. Let's go. Better than that Under the Boardwalk cover a couple albums ago.
If you'll remember, which I'm sure you all do, the semi-bomb movie Queen's Logic from 1991. When a group of lifelong friends reunite in Queens for a bachelor party and a wedding, secrets spill, lessons are learned. The opening scene has Joe Mantegna driving in a convertible with the Van Morrison version of Jackie Wilson sang. But I associate it with Dexys, and I think their version is fantastic, and it makes me feel good.
And it's kind of amazing, too, that the original track listing literally has Celtic Soul Brothers at the beginning, and then Come On Eileen, you have to wait all of the way until the end of the album to hear that song, which is amazing.
In a million years, I never would have thought Come On Eileen would be such a good album closer. Just having to wait for that to be the last song on there. And everything up to that point is keeping your attention. Anticipation's high, and then boom. You end with it, that's the end of the album. Love it. But then there's the American release of Too-Rye-Ay.
And as Justin points out, in the American release, they did exactly what America does, and they opened side 2 with the hammer. Come On Eileen was moved to track 1, side 2. I like it this way. I really like the build-up for it, the anticipation, because you know you're in for a treat. It's dessert of Celtic soul.
I guess the United States just wasn't ready for Celtic soul.
Adam, do you think there's a different way they could have released the singles off of this then for more success than being a one-hit wonder in America?
I would have done Come On Eileen followed up by maybe the Celtic Soul Brothers. That would have been a good piece of meat between the Eileen and Jackie pieces of Too-Rye-Ay bread to make a nice kind of single sandwich.
A lot of members at Dexys Midnight Runners. Arcade Fire is just a better dressed Dexys Midnight Runners.
It is crazy how many people were in Dexys Midnight Runners at one time, or at least the revolving band that Dexys Midnight Runners had.
And evidently, Kevin Rowland ran the band like a gang, and he had kind of like the strict, intense rules. He kind of forbid people from drinking, drugs, dating at some point as well.
After their debut album, that album featured a horn section called the TKO horn section, and they decided to leave. They stuck around and did a few songs here on Too-Rye-Ay. So when you take that and combine it with Helen O'Hara, who came in, and she's a renowned violinist, really a fiddle player here on Too-Rye-Ay. You get banjo. There's a lot going on musically that's fun on this album. It's something I wasn't expecting. How'd you guys feel about the Too-Rye-Ay vegetable stew?
This is an Irish stew that I enjoy immensely. I think the horns bring a whole other aspect to it. Probably too expensive to tour. That's a lot of hamburgers to eat each night at the hotel, or the motel, or the bus. I believe all those flavors is what makes it so tasty.
Justin, Jack, I don't know about you guys, but you know what goes well with veggie stew?
What's that, Adam?
Too-Rye-Ay bread. Dexys Midnight Runners has a 10-piece veggie stew. I'll eat the whole pot of veggie stew that they're throwing out at us. I mean, they just kicked up a killer mix of music. Too-Rye-Ay reminds me so much of the Waterboys Fisherman's Blues, which I would recommend too, where, the best part of it is kind of just the mix of music and instruments that they used. Want an appetizer platter of what this album really has to offer? You got to check out the songs. Plan B, a perfect mix of every musical style that is offered on the album. And then Until I Believe in My Soul has a great scat sax moment that's kind of top notch as well. Or the perfect broth of the veggie stew.
All right, I think we've done a good job highlighting what we like about this album. Let's talk about clothing apparel now. Too-Rye-Ay, Dexys Midnight Runners, circa 1982. What they wearing here, guys?
Two scenarios where you wear a neckerchief. One is a Halloween costume when you're going as somebody from Dexys Midnight Runners. Second, if you want to get made fun of and beat up. That's about it. I honestly feel like the neckerchief and overalls solidified these guys as one-hit wonders.
The video in my memory was on frequent replay. You couldn't escape it. You at least saw it at least once a day. And they had bib overalls on, or coveralls. Maybe we need to throw it out to our fashionista, Adam, as to what the difference between an overall and a coverall is, or a bib. Well, they certainly weren't coveralls. I think I saw Kevin Rowland's nipple.
Yahoo Serious from Young Einstein, or like Pauly Shore, right? So like from the movie Son-in-Law. It was fun for a minute, but you get over it quick. And that's a shame because they have the chops to do a lot of great things, but I don't know if they could get past the look that they threw down in the Come On Eileen video.
And then the neckerchief, an ascot, if you will. It's appropriate if you're in Dexys Midnight Runners or if you're the de facto leader of Mystery Incorporated, Scooby-Doo and the gang.
I wonder if Fred would have got down to Dexys Midnight Runners, Too-Rye-Ay, if Scooby-Doo was based in the 80s there, down at the malt shop.
Come on, Eileen.
Too-Rye-Ay numbers. Adam scored this the highest with the 7.35. I've given it a 7.1. Jack is 6.25. For a final rating of 6.9. Our three favorite songs: Come On Eileen, Jackie Wilson said to the Celtic Soul Brothers. Our least favorite song on this album was I'll Show You.
So, do you need to listen to nonsensical mouth music, aka Too-Rye-Ay, before you die? Answer to that is an absolute yes for my part. I'm giving it a yes. I was kind of blown away by the overall sound of this entire album. I enjoyed it immensely. I think the U.S. missed the boat on this one, and they just weren't ready for Celtic soul music back in the day. And I'm really glad we got to visit this one. Thank you, Dimery, for putting this on the 1001 albums. Listen to the extended version if you have a little bit of extra time, because there's 5 extra tracks that weren't on the original track listing that are as good and maybe even a little better than some of the original tracks.
I will echo Adam as well and say yes to Too-Rye-Ay. It doesn't get considered as one of the top albums of the 80s, and so I kind of downplayed it as just, it's the album with Come On Eileen. But after picking up Searching for the Young Soul Rebels, their debut, probably about 20 years ago, I knew that they had chops to do other things. And here, they exceeded my expectations. All 3 Dexys Midnight Runner albums are on this wheel, so I look forward to the next time a Dexys Midnight Runner album gets spun. Yes to Too-Rye-Ay. Jack, are you going to make this a unanimous decision?
I had a great time listening to this album. It's a quick yes for me. I think I was only 2 or 3 songs in, and I knew that I was going to vote yes. They were all enjoyable. I'm going to give some lower numbers just because they have to meet the high bar of Come On Eileen, which is going to be my highest number. But there are some really good tunes on here. I do like the Van Morrison cover. I like the way that they open the album. This is an album you should listen to before you die. A lot of times we do disservice to bands by saying they're a one-hit wonder. We've short-sighted Dexys Midnight Runner in America. This album should be listened to.
A unanimous decision. Adam, run a little short on time here. Let's give that wheel a tug for next week's album.
Dexys Midnight Runners was a gang, and so is next week's artist on the wheel of albums as we bring in the gang of the E Street Band straight out of New Jersey with their leader, the boss, the one and only Bruce Springsteen, as they bring us the one and only Born in the USA. We're bringing the thunder, the heat, the hits in 1984.
Officially our first repeat artist on Wheel of Albums. Follow along on Spotify for new episodes each Monday. Subscribe on YouTube. Thanks, everybody.
Out of the 3 of us, I would say I would let Adam would be our best ascot wearer. And that reminds me of the old wives' tale, or the old saying, I guess, folklore. You don't bring an ascot to a scarf fight. I'm going to wear coveralls. I maybe have like a t-shirt underneath. You're going to be seeing old Woodsy's knife pole when he's wearing his bibs.